Kriel warriors, standard, and the piper. The Kriel is the heart of Trollkin life and culture. Each Kriel has its own customs and traditions, most often expressed in unique Qatari patterns on their clothing, and in the music of their fell collars and pipers. When Kriel warriors go into battle, they march in time to the music of their people and beneath a great banner that speaks to them their entire extended family. Each Kriel inscribes its history into stone, but it also records upon the cloth. When the Kriels are forced to move, not all of its stones can be transported, so their banners become potent symbols that remind them of their shared past and the kin for whom they fight. A standard whose brazier is fully fueled and burning brightly is visible from impressive distances, its colors readily recognizable to all. The sight of their lit banner against the night sky has inspired many warriors to battle on despite gaping wounds and tremendous loss of blood, or to march beyond the limits of even Trollkin endurance. Pipes have long been the favorite instrument of the Trollkin, who possess the hearty, huge lungs of natural pipers. Lively songs coordinate steps on long journeys and reinvigorate Kriel warriors to force marches in order to arrive where needed with good speed. The mournful song of the pipers also echoes over the battlefield after battle. These plaintive and haunting dirges for the dead remind all who survived to fight the cost of victory. So yeah, these guys will do a lot for their units that they are in, taking them up to number 11. But let's see what we got here. We got, we'll start with the standard bearer because, well, he's here. And I find it interesting that their most important things they don't have really a command. It's more of just the flag that reminds them to keep pushing on, and then the music that, ignites their warrior spirit, which makes sense after reading about them to begin with, because they don't really have a command structure per se. It's whoever's the strongest in the unit. So that actually kind of makes sense. But let's read over the standard bearer. We have a speed 5, mat 5, defense 12, armor 15, tough and immune to ice. His abilities are granted inspiration. So while this model is in play, units gain a +1 to attack rolls. Fantastic. Having gets them up to a mat of 6, most of them. Then we have granted rise. So while this model is in play, models in its units that are knocked down at the beginning of your mate's phase stand up, which is great since these guys all have tough. Then we also have take up. So if it's the same as the other one, if this guy is killed in battle, one of the other Kriel warriors can take the flag and be replaced. The model will be replaced by the flag model. And then he also has unyielding. So if he is in, if people are in melee, his defense goes up to a 17 with that +2. Then he has a melee weapon, which is great because I feel like in Mark IV, all the standard bearers got a little bit better because their shield became a weapon, which kind of adds more to the adds more attacks, and you always want more attacks than less, right? But his mat is a 5, technically a 6 with this +1, range 1, pound 9, and adding inspiration makes these guys better. Adding rise makes these guys way better. So that is a great, especially since these guys are the standard dudes, so you can actually get quite a few units of these guys, especially if you just like having a bunch of Trollkin on the battlefield. But let's move on to the Piper, who is also tough, also immune to ice damage, and he also has combined melee. I guess the standard bearer doesn't have combined melee, but it's because the Piper also has a hand weapon too. So there it is. So the Piper gives granted Pathfinder, so models in this play gain Pathfinder so they can run through rough terrain obstacles without an issue. Then he also has take up, so if he is killed, somebody else will take up the horns and blow them for him. And then he also has unyielding, so he has a +2 arm against melee damage rolls. So, and then he has his hand weapon at a mat 5, range 1, and power 10. So these guys, to your Kriel warriors, give a grand total of a +1 attacks, getting them up to a mat 6. Gives them the ability to rise during maintenance phase if they were knocked down, which, when you have tough, if you're not killed, you're knocked down, so that is very useful. And then they have a Pathfinder, so they can run through rough terrain obstacles, so they can get over woods without any kind of issues. So yeah, it takes these guys from kind of a little bit abysmal to pretty dang good in the long run. And having an arm 17 tough is always very useful in that as well. And mixing with some of the more interesting spells from standard warcasters, these guys can become quite a force on the battlefield. And there's a bunch of them, because I think you can get quite a few, because this guy the normal unit comes in a size 5. This is plus 2 more guys, and then the Kriel warriors. The Kriel warriors, I think you get 1 per 1 point. So, but you can have up to 3 additional Kriel warrior caber throwers. So I think that you can get a full unit of 10 on this with all the unit attachments, weapon attachments. So it makes these guys pretty dang useful in the battlefield.